I am really happy to be able to have a chat today with Whit Mitchell, who's one of our executive coaches. Whit and I have been together for a lot of years now. We've had so many great times together. We've done some good work together. We've had a lot of fun together, been in each other's homes. It's really been terrific. Whit, I'm glad to be able to talk to you a little bit about who you are today, where you're from, what you do. So let's start off. Tell me how you got started in the business of coaching.
I think it goes back, Ron, all the way to 8 years old when my grandfather and grandmother took me to the Yale-Harvard crew race in New London on the Thames River. And we stood on the bank and we looked 4 miles on the river and saw this red boat and this blue boat, and they were lining up. And again, I was only 8. My grandfather had gone to Harvard, class of 1920, I think, 1918. And he described what was about to happen. And I was just mesmerized by all the cars and the banners and the crowds and the deviled eggs and the picnics and everything. And then we watched these crews come all the way up the river, and they rowed 4 miles. It's the oldest intercollegiate event in America, 1852, and it was rowed on Lake Winnipesaukee in New Hampshire, believe it or not. But we watched, and to this day, 1962, it was the closest race ever between the two crews, 2 seconds, 20 minutes and 22 seconds to 20 minutes and 24 seconds. But what happened next is probably what led to what I'm doing today. The two boats pulled themselves together, and the oars go far out, so you have to kind of put them over your lap. And just like you and I are now, they're sitting next to each other. And the Harvard lost, Yale won, and Yale didn't win much after that, but Yale won. And the Harvard guys took their shirts off, handed them across to the Yale guys, shook their hand, and then the boats separated, and the Harvard guys rowed back to their boathouse bare-chested, and Yale guys rowed back with a Harvard shirt in their lap. And I didn't really at the time understand it. My grandfather explained that it's called betting shirts, and the winner gets the shirts. And I think what went on for me at that age was just teamwork and hard work and ethics, and to be able to pull that hard for so long and then have to give up your shirt with a smile and a handshake. A lot of that led to my values as I was growing up. And I went back every year, and then I went to a high school that had crew, and I rowed for 4 years. And I rowed with one of our colleagues, Francis Everly, and that led to going to the University of New Hampshire, and they didn't have a crew. They didn't have a coach. They had just started a crew, and I went down to the boathouse and asked if I could help. I didn't want to row anymore, but I was willing to help because I'd coached I'd helped the Dartmouth women's team get started. Sure enough, they said, "Yeah, we got a position. You're the head coach." It wasn't quite what I was imagining. Sure enough, as an undergrad first year student taking exercise physiology, in the mornings I'd go through some of the exercise physiology and kinesiology classes and started relating that to workouts for the oarsmen and the oarswomen in the kinesiology, the movement of a body and an oar through motion out on the river. And it all started to come together. And we had some really fabulous years with a crew that shouldn't have done very well. We sent 2 women onto the Olympics team in 1976, and I kind of got addicted to this whole team coaching thing. I left the University of New Hampshire and got involved in some outdoor experiential ropes coursework with corporations up in the Hanover, New Hampshire area, businesses. And that just, I realized again, this is how I learn, by doing, not by listening or reading. And we were taking executive teams off with United Airlines for 3 or 4 days at a time in the 80s and early 90s, and then attributing some of the learning and the coaching and the leadership and the team support back to the office. And it was clicking for these guys. And I went, wow, this is fun. This is working. Change is happening in both leadership, culture, and team development. And so I've been doing that kind of work for a long time and took off on my own. And in Hanover, was fortunate to work with the Tuck Business School for, I think, 9 years, and a fellow by the name of Marshall Goldsmith showed up, and he does a lot of executive coaching at a world-class level, and he has this simplistic method of working with behaviors, not skills and not accounting and not strategy and all that stuff, but behaviors. And he's turned into a world-class coach. And I said to him after 9 years and 36 sessions listening to Marshall, I think this works. I've taken his model and adapted it to my work over the number of years that I've been doing this, which is almost, it must be 40 something years since the 20s when I coached. And it's working for my clients and the corporations I'm working with. So it involves leadership and team development work, and it's just, I love it. And some of it's experiential, as you well know. I've taught you, or I've showed you some of the experiential work and the power of that.
Yeah, it's okay to say that you've taught me some of that. So you not only worked at Tuck, but you've worked a number of years at Columbia in their executive development program, and you worked at Harvard in their executive learning program. So you've really had a great opportunity to work with executives from around the world. And what I really appreciated about you, you say, yes, you're focused on behaviors, but you've really developed some terrific skills in listening and questioning, and you know when to be gentle, you know when to challenge people more. You've shown a lot of, I guess I would say, seasoning or maturing in the way that you coach executives from all different spectrums, all different industries. I know that right now you do a lot of work with people in healthcare and with people in technology. And it seems like you're the perfect example of somebody who's in their prime, somebody who's invested all these years to learn how to do something really well. And it's become almost second nature to you at this point.
You know, as you say that, what comes to mind, which may not be what you expected, is my kids may not agree with the listening and the agreeing and all the things that you so nicely said. And I keep thinking to myself, but I do those at work. I don't know why I can't do them with my children. So I appreciate your compliments. And they would say, I'm out of my prime. Dad, you're 66 years old, and I'm looking towards retirement. I'm really not. I feel very comfortable, Ron, and thank you for saying it, comfortable and confident in the work that I'm doing with others. And it just feels easy now. It doesn't feel like it's forced. It feels comfortable. I don't force it anymore. And I think like a good tennis player, you don't force the ball over the net. You know, you sort of figure out how to finesse it over the net, which you and I have both watched the U.S. Open. So
yes, that's right. And you're also a big part of one of our most important programs around developing or growing leaders, the Complete Leader Program. You've facilitated several sessions, you've coached a number of people, and you really are our resident expert around experiential learning, which we incorporate into all of those programs. And that's really, boy, what a wonderful experience for us it is, isn't it, to watch these leaders grow and to see the transformation that takes place in them over the time that we're working with them over 12 or 14 months.
Yeah, I attributed, and I think I said this the other day, some reason Horse Whisperer with Robert Redford came on. I think that's the name of the movie, but he is the Horse Whisperer. Maybe I can't remember the name of the movie. But all of a sudden I started connecting it with the Complete Leader. When people come in first time, it's like a bucking bronco. They're sort of a little resistant, and we're giving them psychometric instruments, and we're asking them to talk about their own self-awareness, and we're taking them through some stuff right away that kind of jolts them a little bit. And I remember Robert Redford roping this horse and grabbing one of the legs and lifting it up so the horse could only have 3 legs, and slowly but surely lowering that so they had all 4 legs to work with, and the horse kind of calmed down. When I saw the movie, I said, this is what goes on in the Complete Leader. We get a little resistance and there's a little pushback, but it's because we're challenging people. Yeah. And then things start to work out and they get their 4 legs on the ground and they go to work because there's separation between some of the sessions, and they go back to work and try some of the things, and they come back and go, it works. Yeah. So it's a wonderful 14 months of come and learn and then go practice, come and learn and go practice. And slowly but surely, like anything that you practice, it gets better and better and easier. And the smiles on their faces when they really got it it's worth the whole thing.
Yeah, well, in the end of the program, when they graduate and they do a presentation is often really one of the most moving experiences that we have. Well, we just have a couple minutes before we have another meeting we have to get to. But what do you enjoy doing when you're not at work?
Outdoors. I grew up on a street with a bunch of boys, and the minute Saturday came, or the minute we got home from school, we were outside playing. And I just grew up playing everything. I'm not, I would say I'm an expert at nothing athletically, but I love to do everything. So in the summers, my wife and I are involved in racing sailboats, old sailboats that were built in the 40s up in Maine. And I love to ski the Canadian Rockies. So I take one child and I go on trip, do skiing. I play tennis once a week with a bunch of doctors. I run every day along the river. I'm calling it waddling now. I can't imagine it really considered running, but just anything to do with outside and sweating and getting some good exercise and seeing the beauty of this wonderful country in the Northeast and up into Canada. The skiing is just fabulous. So
Yeah.
that's what I enjoyed. And being with my kids and 4 grandchildren. So
Yes,
but
that's
it's
right.
hard without them.
Yeah, that's right. They add a lot to life. Well, great. It's really terrific to have you as a part of our team, Whit.
Thanks,
And
Ron.
I know that anybody that works with you will end up coming to the same conclusion.
Well, thanks, Ron.
Yes.
Wonderful.